Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how to upload the demonstration files that come with these tutorials. Again, I've set up about a dozen demonstration files approximately, and I'm going to show you how to upload them, how to set up your database, and how to configure some of the files so that you can start using these demonstration examples. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright. Now, if you've set up a database before, then this is going to be old hat, and you might want to skip forward in this tutorial. But if you're new to this, then this is going to be very useful because a lot of people don't know how easy it is or how easy it can be to set up your database on your web server. Now, again, you've got to have a web hosting provider that gives you MySQL database. Now, most hosting providers out there provide that. You are also going to need PHP 5, which is going to come into play later on in the examples. And if your web hosting provider does not provide that, then again, go to 15daysofjquery.com. That's my website /hosting, and I'll give you a link out to my preferred hosting provider along with a promotion code to knock the price down to just a penny. But let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to show you is how to set up a database in 4 steps. Now, depending on your hosting provider, your admin panel may look very different, but the steps are basically the same. You're going to log into your web hosting account. You're going to create a new database. You're going to create a new database user, and you're going to assign the user to the database. And that's the step that most people forget, especially when they're doing this for the first time. But even folks like me sometimes forget to assign the user to the database because we're in a hurry, and then we wonder, why can't we connect to the database? Basically, the logic is this. You could have a lot of different, let's just use, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air. You could have 3 different database users and 10 different databases. And so the web hosting, the server needs to know which users have access to which databases. So that's why there's that extra step of assigning the user to the database. If you've only got one user and one database, it would seem pretty obvious, but still, you need to go through the step of assigning the user to the database so the server knows, okay, this user has permissions to use the database. So let me go ahead and break away from the PowerPoint presentation and show you. You're going to watch over my shoulder as I walk you through the steps, and you're going to see me set up a database step by step so you can follow along as closely as possible and get your database up and running. Now, as we're going through this, please be sure to copy all of the details that you use to set up your passwords and your usernames. Copy these into a text file and then print it out because you're going to need these details later on. So let me go ahead and pause the video and move on to where you can watch over my shoulder as I walk you through this. So as you can see here, I'm logged into my control panel, and I'm currently using a web hosting company that uses cPanel. cPanel just makes it really easy to set up databases, to manage your accounts, add email accounts, do all sorts of things that you need to do to manage a website. cPanel makes it really easy, but it's certainly not the only control panel out there. So if your web hosting company doesn't have cPanel, of course, you can always use my recommendation. Or you can just stick with the web hosting company that you already have. My recommendation, again, and I've said this several times, is 15daysofjquery.com /hosting. And that will give you the same web hosting provider that I'm using for this demo. So the demonstration website that I'm using is jbdemo.com. And that's really not important, but I'm just going to tell you that in case you see some references to JBDemo. So I'm scrolling down to where I see databases, and what I want to do is you set up MySQL databases. So I've clicked that link, and hopefully the page is going to come up here pretty soon. Okay, so here we are. We've got the page set up where I can create a new database. So as I mentioned before, what you want to do is you want to open up a notepad document or something where you can jot down the details of the name of the database, your username, and your password. And also the host. If your web hosting provider doesn't use localhost, if they use some other host, then you need that too. So you need 4 bits of information. So let's go through this. Let's create a new database. So I'll just call this demo, and I'll hit create database. So it added the database demo. So let's go back. Now, the way that my web server is set up, I would actually be wrong if I said that the database name is demo. It's actually my username for the main account. So I'll go ahead and give that out as jbde_demo. So this is the username part _demo, and I'll show you how if I didn't know that just from having done this so many times, I'll show you how you would know that. But let's go ahead and move forward. The important thing is that you're writing this information down somewhere. Alright, so new database. Now I need a new user. And these are the users that I currently have set up. So add a new user. That's this right here. So I'm going to choose a username and password. Let's do demo and demo ABC. I have to type that again, demo ABC. So I will let's see here, I want to create the user. Added user demo with password demo ABC. So we need to add that information in. User demo pass demo ABC. So far so good. The last bit of information I need to know is the host. I happen to know that that is localhost, but again, I'll show you how you would know that. Now the user, again, is going to be my username for the main account, and then the password is just left the same. Now let me show you how I would know that. Let me go back. Now remember the step that most people forget. Most people will create a database, they'll create a user, and then they think that they're done. Well, you're not. What you have to do is you have to actually add a user to the database. This is the last step. So I have to find the user that I just created, find the database, and now I'm going to click add. And I'm still not done. I have to choose. I can either choose from the menu of privileges, or I'm just going to do the simple thing and choose all privileges. Now look at this. It says user, excuse me, and it gives the full username. So notice it says jbde_demo. It's not demo. And the database, similarly, is jbde_demo. So however your web hosting company sets it up is the way that you should use it, but they usually give you that information when you're setting this up. So I'm going to choose all privileges just to make it easy. I'm going to choose, click the button that says make changes. Okay, so again, it gives me that information. The user jbde_demo was added to the database, jbde_demo. So I just want to double check that I have the correct information, and I do. So let's go back. Now, how did I know that it was localhost for the host? Let's see here. There is. They used to show. I might not be able to show you. They used to show the PHP code for setting this up. Let me see what happens if I click this. Nope, that didn't work. Alright, unfortunately I'm using a newer version of cPanel and it doesn't show the PHP code. It used to show the PHP code. It really doesn't matter. What you need to know is you need to ask your web hosting provider whether it's localhost. 9 out of 10 times it's localhost. And when I set up the config file, this will make a lot more sense. So what we've done, just to recap, I logged into the account, I created a database, I created a username, I created a password for that username. And then I connected the database to the user and gave that user all privileges to the database. So now I have all this information stored away in a text file. I can print this out, but this is the information that I'm going to add to the config file once I upload all the files and populate the database. What I'm going to do is add that information to the config file, and that will help my PHP code talk to the database that's on the server. And this will all make sense as you watch me walk through this step by step. And that's why I do these video tutorials, so that you can see exactly what I'm doing, you can understand and hear why I'm doing it. Now for some of you, this is very basic stuff and you've done it a million times, just as I have. For some of you, this is the first time you're doing it, so I want to be able to give you the confidence to go ahead and do this on your own web server. Okay, so once you've set up your database, now what you want to do is you need to upload your file. So whatever FTP software you're using, you need to open that up and create a new account. As you can see from the PowerPoint slide, I recommend FileZilla, but use whatever you want. FTP software comes in all sorts of different shapes, sizes, and flavors, so whatever works best for you, that's great. Open it up, create a new account, and plug in the information that your web hosting company has provided you. If you have ever set up a web hosting account before, if you've ever uploaded a file using FTP software, then this is old hat, okay? But I just have to go through it because somewhere along the line someone's going to come along who has never done this before, and that's fine. Everybody has to do this their first time. There's a first time for everyone. So once you create that new account using the information your web hosting company provided to you, you hit the connect button. That will connect you to your web server. I'm going to show you how to create a new directory. It's extremely easy. And then you're going to watch me click, drag, and drop my demonstration files that you have, same files. You're going to highlight them all, click, drag, and then drop them onto the new directory that you're going to create. And this is really no different than copying a file from one folder on your hard drive to another folder. It's really the same process. It's very easy. So this is the point in the video where I break away from the PowerPoint and I show you exactly how to do this. So let's go ahead and flip on over to the screen where I show you step by step how to upload files to your web server. So I've reduced the screen size of FileZilla so it'll fit into the viewing window, but this is basically what it looks like. Now, depending on your latest version of FileZilla, it may look slightly different. It also comes with different themes, but the important thing, whether you're using FileZilla, FireFTP, or CuteFTP, or WinFTP, there's about a bazillion different types of FTP software packages out there. Whatever it is, the process is basically the same. You need to create an account and then connect to it so that the FTP software sends a host, username, and password over to the server, and if everything is correct, it will grant you access to the files and directories on your server. And then what you can do is you can use the software to click, drag, and drop files onto this area right here, and that will give you the ability to very easily upload the files to your web server. So let's go ahead and get started. This will make a lot more sense. Using FileZilla, over in this corner right here, there's a button that you can click that gives you access to the site manager, and this is where you would add in this information. You'd add in a host, a user, and a password. So you would type in the information. So let's go ahead and start. So let's do a new site. So right here I need to type in the name of this site, and so I would do let's do JB demo DVD, and now I need to go and add host. So it might be, depending on your web hosting provider, you're going to use the information that they sent to you. Anytime that you sign up with a new web hosting provider, they're going to send you the login information. Now it may take 48 hours for your account to go live, but as soon as it goes live, you'll be able to log in using the information they send you by email. So let's say that it's ftp.your.site.com. Now what you need to do is change the logon type from anonymous to normal, and that gives you the ability to add in username and password details. So then you would type in your actual username, and type in your actual password. And then what you would do is at the bottom click on connect or OK. I like to choose connect because that does a save and connect at the same time. Now I already have the information for my site set up, so I'll just go over to the JB demo section. Okay, now let me expand this window and show you that actually I'm going to shrink this back down. This section right here, and everything's shrunken down a little bit. This section is your computer, and then this section is the web server. So let me expand it back. So this is your computer right here. This is the web server, and it works pretty much the same way as anything else. What you want to do, meaning that last sentence meant that you can double click on a directory and it's going to open it up and show you the files inside of it. Okay, so a folder is a directory. So a lot of web servers are set up so that the HTML files, the files that make up the viewable part of your web page, are in a directory called public HTML. So what you want to do is double click on public HTML, and that will open up a whole bunch of files here. Files, directories, so these are what files will look like, and these are folders or directories, however you want to call them. So what you want to do is you want to right click and choose create directory, and this will give us the ability to just type a name of a new folder. Now you don't want to use spaces, but anything, well I should say, you don't want to use any funny characters. You basically want to stick to letters and underscores, possibly dashes, but I like to use underscores. So let's use, I'm going to do 15 days DVD. Okay, now this directory may be gone by the time that you watch this, but I just want to show you how easy it is to set this up. So we got 15 days DVD. I double click, open this up, and you see that there's nothing in here. It says empty directory listing. Well, that's great because this is the part where I'm going to highlight all of these files. These are the files that you're going to download from me and then unzip or extract to your hard drive. Okay, so you've got this folder open and you're ready to, you've minimized it a little bit so that you can see both of these windows at the same time. Now what we're going to do, you're going to watch me click right here, hold it down, click, drag, and drop this right here. And that's going to start the upload process. Here we go. So it gives you the indication that I can move this, and then I'm going to drop it, and you're going to see that the files start to appear up on the web server. So that's it. That's the process of uploading these files to the web server. Okay, so now we have the files on the web server. We've got our database set up. What we have to do now is change one of the files that come with my demonstration files so that the PHP code that I've already written for you will be able to connect to your database using the information that you've used to set up your database. So in other words, you set up your database, you've got a username, you've got a password. Well, now you need to tell my PHP code or your PHP code how to what those details are so that it can actually connect to your database. We're going to store that information in the database. You're going to save the file, and then you're going to watch me click, drag, and drop that new config file, which has all the new ingredients for logging into your database. Click, drag, and drop that onto the old one, which is on your server. And then when it says, hey, do you want to overwrite this? I see that you're making a copy here. You're going to choose yes. So that's going to delete the old file, replace it with a new file. And if you've copied the exact username, password, and database info, everything should just work great. So let me go ahead and break away from the PowerPoint presentation and show you exactly how to do that. Now what I want to show you is I'm going to show you how to set up the config file. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the files that you've downloaded from me and you've extracted to your hard drive. And you want to find this file called config.php. Right click, and I would choose to edit it with Notepad++. You can edit it with your own code editor, whatever you're using. But if you don't have a code editor, I highly recommend Notepad++. So let's open this up, and I'll resize this down so we can take a look at it. Now, some of the things that I like about Notepad++ is that you have these numbered lines, so that makes it very easy when there's a PHP error. You can go back, it'll sometimes tell you what line number the error was on. You can go back and find it very easily, whereas regular old Notepad doesn't show that. There are some other features that we'll get into later. But you can use Notepad, just don't use Word or WordPad. Alright, so you see that there's a spot for 4 bits of information. Well, these are the 4 bits of information that we stored, or we copied and pasted for when we were setting up our database. We've got database, user, pass, and host. So the host is a local host. So for the user, what I want to do is set up, so I need to copy and paste that in. The pass is going to be this. So copying and pasting makes it very, very easy to get it right the first time. So you don't have to get frustrated and curse at your computer screen. Alright, so once those are good, once we've copied and pasted all that information in there and we're ready to save it, you're going to notice that this is turned red. That means it's ready to be saved. It has not been saved, and once I save it, the color of this will change to blue. So I can hit File, Save, and I'll do that. Or I could hit Control S. Control S is a shortcut for save. And you'll notice that the color here has changed. Alright, so I saved that, but it's on my local machine, so that's not going to do me any good until I upload it to the web server. So let's go ahead and do that. Very simple. Here's the file that I changed. I had originally double-clicked on this, or actually I right-clicked and chose Edit with Notepad++. So once I've saved that, it's ready to be uploaded. Here's the version on my web server. So if I can see both config.php here and config.php here, all I have to do is click, drag, and drop. And I don't have to drop it right on top of it, just somewhere out here. And a lot of times it will ask you, do you want to overwrite, and you want to choose yes. And that's it. And the last step is to upload the demonstration data. So not only am I giving you the files and the JavaScript, PHP code, and all of those great things, but I'm also going to give you the data, the demonstration data, so you can follow along. So it's going to make it much easier for you to do exactly what I'm showing you in the tutorials. So I've gone and gotten, I've pulled some free, it's not open source, what is it? Copyright free. There's a word that I'm missing right now, but anyways, it's copyright free data, public domain, that's the word, public domain data, and I've grabbed it off of the web. I've formatted it so that it's in a much more user-friendly format, so you can copy and paste that. And I'm going to use a tool called PHP MyAdmin. This is a web-based tool that most web hosting companies provide. And again, if your web hosting company does not provide this, then you can go to 15daysofjQuery.com/hosting, and I'll send you out to a web hosting company that provides all that and more. But your web hosting company probably already has this. So you're going to watch me use PHP MyAdmin, and if you've got that tool, then I'll show you that it is as easy as copying and pasting. Once you see exactly where you need to paste this info, hit the save button, and the data is populated into the database, and we can be off and running. So later on in the videos, I will show you where to get similar data, public domain data that's copyright free. So that'll be very handy when you want to set up your own web-based applications. And it's just really just to give you ideas about where to find similar types of data. But right now, this is the part where I stop the PowerPoint presentation, and you're going to watch over my shoulder as I show you how to use PHP MyAdmin to upload the demonstration data into your database. Since I've already created the database, the user, and connected the user to the database, we are all set to go, except we need to add the demonstration data that I have prepared for you. I need to help you walk through how to add that to the database. So first we need to be able to open up a tool, a web-based tool called PHP MyAdmin. So what you want to do is go back to the main page of your control panel and scroll down, and there should be, depending on what type of control panel you have, hopefully there's a link to manage your database, or it might actually just say PHP MyAdmin. If so, click that link, and that will take you into the web-based admin tool called PHP MyAdmin. And what you want to do is look for the database that you've created. Now what I need to do is, I believe I need to delete the database info that's already in here. So let me go ahead and delete this info. Just ignore this for a second here. Okay, so you're going to have a blank database. Now what you want to do is you want to be able to go in and click on SQL or SQL. Click SQL, and this will give you a text area where you can copy and paste some information in. Now what are you going to copy and paste there? Well, what you do is you go over to the files that you've downloaded from me and that you unzipped, and you want to open up censusdata.txt, and this will open up a file that looks like so. And all you have to do is click somewhere in here, choose select all. That was a right click, choose select all, right click, copy, and let's go back over to our web page and right click and paste it in. And now we hit, let me slide this over. Once we're ready, I'm going to hit the go button. And hopefully it says your SQL query has been executed successfully. And if you look over here, you've got Florida counties. If I click on this, we've got 67 rows, and it's broken out by year. So this is there's data in this database now, so we're ready to use that. So that's how simple it is using PHP MyAdmin to upload the demonstration data that I've already prepared for you, so you can follow along with these tutorials.